Hey everyone, welcome back to Trackside Tea, where we skip the nerdy engineering stuff and just drive into the emotion, energy and entertainment of F1. I'm Rebecca and today's episode is truly special because I was at Silverstone last weekend. You all felt the British Grand Prix magic, right? Rain, chaos, home heroics. Let's get into it. Lando's Dream Win. Let's kick off with the epic headline which everyone's talking about. Well, actually there is more than one epic headline, but we'll start with this one. Lando Norris. What an amazing moment. Wicked pace in the wet dry conditions and a home victory in front of his crowd. He was even getting emotional crossing the line, funnily enough. Oh my God, we did it. And when I say his crowd, not only was it a home crowd, as in the location at Silverstone, but he had his own stand, the LandoStand. Stow corner A, B, C and an added extra D. It was all pure Lando. They decked it all up the sides with a logo, etc. And we all, well, most of us, got a free t-shirt to wear as well. More about that little issue later. You definitely couldn't miss his fans, that's for sure. I'm kind of glad it wasn't a stupid hot weekend. With fluoro yellow t-shirts, we would have been a wasp flying bee's favourite area. Not sure I would have fancied that, to be fair. It's been years since a Brit outside of Hamilton won at Silverstone, and it's the first McLaren win there since Hamilton himself back in 2008. Lando, you are a legend. And what made it even better for him? His whole family were there, including his grandparents. So sweet. Wet weather roller coaster. Oh my goodness me. The weather was bonkers. It's like Silverstone has its own little microclimate, a bit like Avebury. The amount of times Paul and I, my husband, for those who don't know, have been there and it's glorious until you get to the outskirts and then it's hammering down with rain. And then to drive out the other side and it's gorgeous again. This is how it felt at Silverstone. We were keeping an eye on the weather all week before we left and it kept changing, so we genuinely had no idea what was going to happen when we got there. As much as they tried to predict the rain coming, it still felt a little bit unpredictable, so the rain definitely set the tone for the race. There were multiple safety cars, lots of shifting tyre strategies and a pretty treacherous track underneath them. I have to say ponchos are king at an event like this, best purchase ever, and we had see-through ones so you could still see our fabulous coloured t-shirts underneath. But you know that point when you get part of you wet and then you just think, screw it, I'm wet now, who cares? That was me. And to be honest, the rest of the fam too. It was Paul, myself, my youngest daughter, my stepkids and my mother-in-law, all in a row, ponchoed up. It was quite a sight, I have to say. Then the sun came out, poncho off, and then you just slowly watched the next menacing cloud head towards you. One spot of rain as a race to get the poncho back on, because when it started, oh my gosh, did it start. But when I say microclimate, I had a friend over the opposite side at Farmer's Corner. What? Farmer's Corner? I have no idea where that came from. Farm Curve. And when it rained on us, at one point, it wasn't raining over there. It just seemed really insane. But you gotta love the British weather, I guess. I will say one thing for it. It brings everyone together. Unless you are grumpy, and I have to say we did have a few sat around us that were a little bit grumpy, the majority, when you're all trying to get on your ponchos, everyone quickly helps everyone out. When you got your poncho tucked up behind you, there's always somebody to grab it and put it down. It was actually quite an epic moment. Pastries, protest and penalty. Piastri's protest and penalty. Oscar Piastri, not Oscar Pastry, has come into the firing line this week. Lando fans get annoyed at him because he's challenging Lando for the championship, and some think he's got a little bit cocky these days. He crossed the line second, but the drama in his race bubbled after a whopping penalty he received. After one of the safety cars, Oscar was in front, and as the safety car left, he broke. Admittedly, it was quite a hard break and Max ends up narrowly missing going into the back of him. He well and truly backed Max and Lando up, so Lando basically could find it easier to pass Max when they started, I reckon. Now, it is normal for a driver at the front to slow right down to give the safety car space to get away, before the front car zooms off and restarts the race. As going past the safety car, or even colliding into it, would be even more of a no-no. But he also broke really hard, and I think Nico was heard saying in the cool-down room after the race that it even backed up to him, and he needed to brake. It was noted by the stewards, and he was hit with a 10-second penalty. He called it extreme and asked the team to consider swapping positions with Lando. He wasn't the only one that thought it was extreme either, with even Max Verstappen defending him, which is rare. He admitted the penalty looked harsh. Yes, he broke hard, And he was a bit naughty, but 10 seconds was very harsh in my opinion. On the upside, it may have cost him the win, but he still got there in second place. But I also will say he does need to get over himself a little bit for the after interview though. He was very salty, as the kids would say, and did not come across well. I get that he was annoyed, but there's still fans there to support him, and he still got second. Seemed a little bit over the top he did for that interview. Hulkenbergs' emotional podium. Oh my god. So the second epic headline. What a race to actually be at. So, cue the underdog moment. Nico Hülkenberg. After 239 races, he finally gets on the podium in P3. Silverstone literally erupted. The crowd loved it. Everyone was so happy for him. It was very well deserved, and he went from 19th to 3rd. How epic is that? He can well and truly own this win as well, as he turned down the advice from his race engineer at least 3 times. They said to pit for wet tyres. He said no. And then they said it again, and he said no. And then they said stay out, and he said no, and he went to change his tyres. Same tyres though. I really must do a tyre splainer episode, I reckon, as even then I'd learn a bit more about them as well. I think that might be a good idea. Others waited for a couple of laps to change their tyres, and in that time he put in the fastest lap and raced up a fair few spots. After that, all he needed to do was keep Lewis at bay, and he did very nicely. It was an epic feel-good moment and also shows that you should never give up. Although not sure about the Lego trophy. Your first when you get a trophy made of Lego. At least it's unique, I guess. One of the sweetest Insta posts I've seen since then was that Aston Martin and Mercedes clubbed together and sent over some champagne for them to the garage, as they never thought it was going to happen, so they were not prepared at all, bless them. Oh, and a quirky snippet I read today. In the run-up to Silverstone Grand Prix, Sky Bet had the odds of Nico getting a podium spot as 750 to 1, which 27 people took a bet on. Did they know something we didn't? But also, you know what's really spooky? What's Hulkenberg's number? Yep, 27. It obviously was fate. Other highlights. What else went down? Hamilton, having won last year in his Mercedes, was hoping for another home win in his Ferrari, but that was not meant to be, managing P4 and just missing out on a podium spot. Tough break in front of his home fans, that's for sure. George Russell took a spin early on, which he never really recovered from, just scraping 1 point by coming in 10th. Not his finest race, and another homeboy too. Max Verstappen. Well, pole position was not his for long, and after the controversial start after the safety car with Oscar, the next corner, Max spun out while battling to get back in front in the very wet conditions, dropping him to P5 finish. Sorry Max, but it was epic for us, as it was on the stretch of track we could see in front of us. The gasps you could hear from our whole stand, as with all the spray, you couldn't really clearly see it was Max, or Lando, or Oscar, or all 3 of them, so the tension was quite wild at the time. Charles had a wobble as well, and right in front of us. He headed towards the barrier across the gravel area. Luckily he managed to pull it back and got himself back on track, literally. Only P14 for him though this time. Cool, blimey, there was more than I thought happened. Oh, I cannot not mention the rookies. Ollie Behrman was the only one to finish the race, and he was really close to points as well with 11th place. Colapinto didn't even start. Lawson, Bortoletto, Hadjar and Antonelli never finished, which left just 15 in total in the race. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. I definitely didn't get my predictions right on that one though. I think I said 18. Oops. And I could not go without mentioning Fernando Alonso. He got points again. He got 2 points because he only got in 9th. But Stroll managed to beat him. He got 6 points coming in 7th. I have to say that was pretty good for him. The standings. Piastri still leads, but now just by 8 points. He is definitely feeling the heat from his teammate. Norris closes in fast with back-to-back wins now. And Verstappen stumbled this weekend, and his only saving grace was that George also stumbled. Meanwhile, the constructors' battle is heating up. McLaren is surging ahead, and no chance of someone catching them unless something goes drastically wrong for them. Ferrari and Mercedes are close, and Red Bull, well, they really need to reassess themselves this time. Celebrities with the Brundle. We didn't see the Brundle Trundle till we got home, as on the big screen you get different peeps to watch. But was that an epic trundle or what? The celebs treat Martin as if he's the celebrity, and the best one by far must have been Hannah Waddingham. Oh my goodness me, she was well and truly starstruck. I'm not sure that Martin even knew how to deal with it, bless him. He is such a star. LandoStand. Well, as I may have said, we were in the LandoStand. He had Stowe Corner for all his fans. It was brightly coloured in its decor all round the sides, and we were all given a free fluoro yellow coloured t-shirt and wristband. The only downside was that not everyone could have a t-shirt. Okay, time for a mini rant here. We arrived on the Friday morning and went straight to the place where you collected them from. There were 3 container type huts, each with different sizes on, so we thought, oh, this is pretty organised. They scanned our tickets for it, which appeared on the app easily enough, and we got our t-shirts and wristbands. There was no fan pack though, which was one of the things that was promised when we purchased the seats, but we still got a t-shirt and wristband. We got all bar my stepson's, as he wasn't with us until the following day. Now during the day the queue was massive and people must have waited a fair while for their t-shirts, so we were really pleased that we managed to go first thing in the morning. The Saturday morning, when we had my stepson with us, we went to get his t-shirt. Not a big queue, so we only waited a few minutes. While in the queue we found out that they only had small and a few medium left. We wanted medium really, but the last one went to the person in front of us, so we got a small. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, it was just a little bit tighter than he would have liked. What frustrated me was that then they only had small sizes for the whole of Saturday and for those who only had Sunday tickets. I feel that it needs to be more planning. Get more larger ones. Small people can wear large t-shirts, but large people cannot wear small t-shirts. I saw a young lad who was quite upset because he could not wear the t-shirt he was given because he was handed a small, bless him. I felt so sorry for him. If I'd actually had my one on me, I would have swapped over with him because I just felt so bad. Although having said they just had smalls for the rest of the 2 days, within a couple of hours, they were out of those as well. So there must have been a fair few people that didn't even get a shirt. Now, how do I actually probably know that? Because of the next thing that makes me so cross. People who ruin it for others. I'm in a chat group for Silverstone, and in that group people were saying things they heard. People sat nearby saying they kept going back on Thursday, just taking the band off and getting another t-shirt. They'd said they'd already made £350 on eBay by selling the t-shirts. Then somebody else said the people in this tent next to them said they didn't even have LandoStand tickets at all, but one of their mates did, so they kept doing it as well, and they had at least 2 or 3 each. They weren't even in the LandoStand. It seems like everyone working on there wasn't all scanning the QR code. The woman who served us, she scanned our QR code, and as soon as it gets scanned, it's marked as complete, so you can't use it again. But clearly, not everyone was doing that. But the sad thing is, it's people that do that sort of thing that don't even think about the fact that some poor kid or adult may be quite upset because they didn't get their t-shirt. They came here to support Lando, that was promised for them, with their ticket, and they didn't get it. I genuinely hate people like that. But you know what, on a positive vibe, another good thing about the LandoStand, he wanted to have proper party vibes, and it did. Every time there was no commentary on or a race on, they had a DJ, and he was pretty good, I have to say. I believe it was Shane from Boyzone was the actual DJ, and then you had a guy who was on the microphone singing, trying to get the crowd up and going, which was really good. So there's some real good vibes, and the music was pretty good. But the best top thing ever was the team leader that was running all the volunteers on the LandoStand. He was epic. And you know what? He managed to get the fans up and dancing and clapping more than the DJ did. He was absolutely amazing. His name is Gary, and somewhere I will put his link to his TikTok because, oh my goodness me. We found out afterwards he had TikTok. He was absolutely epic. If you ever get Gary in your stand, you'll know it. He literally was walking up and down half the time, getting everybody to clap, getting everybody to dance. It's just such an amazing vibe. It was absolutely unbelievable and everybody loved it. He is what made it an even better race. Thank you, Gary. Oh my God. So that was going to be it for this episode. But what on earth happened? Christian Horner just got the sack. Who saw that coming? It's what so many people have wanted for so long after the drama last year. If you don't know about that, then just Google Christian Horner scandal 2024. But mid-season, he got kicked out. and apparently, according to him, without warning. In his speech to the staff, he stated he was not leaving Red Bull completely, but he had no idea what was next for him. Oh dear, I have to say I'm semi-happy he's gone, so we'll see. We'll see how Red Bull do now. But why did this happen? Has Christian been accused of something else and they're keeping it out of the press? Or they said a while ago he was being investigated for last year again, so did they decide enough was enough? Or is Max planning to sign with Mercedes? And the board told Christian if he goes, so do you. Max has a get-out clause in his contract that if he's lower than third place in the championship, I think, by the summer break, then he can leave. And it seems Max is working towards that. And actually, if George had done better at Silverstone, he would have been even closer to that goal. But he's going to have to do a couple more races yet. But then again, if Max went to Mercedes, where would George go? I mean, they wouldn't get rid of Kimi, as he's too young and has a whole career in front of him. But poor George. That is definitely a watch this space kind of moment. Just realised this turned into an oh my god, Christian got sacked drama to what would happen to Max and George drama. Oh well, never mind. Virtual safety tea. One word vibe? Magical. Top moment? Celebrating Lando in the LandoStand. The atmosphere was epic. Now your turn. Were you Team Lando? Cheering for Hulkenberg? Or still miffed about Piastri's penalty? Find me on Insta at Trackside Tea with Rebecca. This was British Grand Prix bliss, home heroics, chaos in the rain, and memories that'll last a lifetime. I loved it, and if you enjoyed reliving a bit of Silverstone with me, please subscribe, share with fellow fans, and join me again. Next stop's Hungary. Let's see if the vibe continues. I'm Rebecca, this is Trackside Tea. Less telemetry, more tea. Cheers.